If you met me today, you would not believe how lonely I used to be back in the day. Because when COVID ended, I literally only had 2 friends whom I was talking to on Discord. But just 6 months after that, I managed to meet hundreds of new people. And a lot of them I'm still talking to now on at least, a monthly basis. I'm invited to all sorts of spontaneous and fun events regularly. I still have like a really cool, fun, and also inspiring inner circle of fun and cool guys and girls as well. Now, if you feel like this is a crazy transformation, I can guarantee you that I'm going to help you understand how to complete this yourself. I've created a system which basically makes it impossible for you to not make friends in the next coming months. What you need to understand is that all of your social problems stem from 2 things. The first one is you don't speak to enough people. So basically the volume is too low. Now, if you increase this, you will meet more people every single week, so your numbers will be high, but they're still only going to be acquaintances. The second problem you may face is that your social skills are holding you back. You're unable to convert these acquaintances into friendships or dates. So your conversion rate is low. I'll teach you how to increase both of these to basically maximize the amount of people you're talking to and maximize the amount of guys you're befriending and girls you're either befriending or also dating. I'm not being naive here, right? So I know you want to date a bunch of girls. I know you want to make a bunch of friends, but preferably both. So let's get into it. First, I'm going to talk about how to increase the volume of people you talk to, because I feel like this is the easiest to improve on. Since you likely understand that if you talk to a lot of people, you will meet more guys who want to be friends with you and also more girls who want to date you. There is a catch though, and I call this LMM. Location matters most. I have this story about going to this network event where the tickets were really bloody expensive. They were, I think, like $200. But one of my close friends knew the person organizing it, so he managed to get me in for free. And I was talking to these ultra successful businessmen who were like in their 40s, 50s, 60s, so way older than me. But they still looked at me as equal partners. Since if I'm a young guy who managed to afford such an expensive networking event and who has things to talk about, they always gave me the benefit of the doubt of being successful. In fact, they already treated me as someone who's their equal. Despite me obviously not being there financially yet and not having the business success that they have, and not even the fraction of it, but they still always looked at me as someone who's on a similar level as them because of the location we met in. Do you think if I met these same businessmen in a random cafe in the city, would they look at me the same way? Would have we had the same conversations? Well, likely not. The same if you meet a really attractive woman at like an exclusive spot, which is like really expensive to afford, or if it's like a members only club, she's going to look at you a different way because she's obviously going to assume that you're on a high level. You're a high level individual. The same if you meet someone at the gym compared to how you meet them at a party maybe. It's a different vibe, it's a different location, and people expect different things from others. This is literally social psychology 101. You expect certain people to act in a certain way based on how you perceive them. Understand? So if you go into a lecture hall and someone walks in with a mop in their hand, you're not going to start thinking about how they're going to teach the class or if they're going to be, very strict with the exam or not. No, because you think they're there just to clean the room. But if the same person walks in, in a suit and a tie and with glasses on, and they already start, addressing the room, you expect them to be a teacher and not a member of the cleaning staff. You get what I'm trying to say, right? The location where you meet a person is going to be one of, if not the most important factor into how they perceive you. Very, very crucial. So status is location and situation dependent. In the gym, the chess grandmaster is not going to be high status, is he? Because he's good at chess. But if he just started going to the gym, people aren't really going to, listen to his advice or maybe even care about him that much. But if you go to the chess club, he's the top dog, right? He's going to be the person who everyone asks for advice for. Probably going to be the girls all around him and everything, if there's girls in the chess club, obviously. But you get my point. Every single spot you pick, people are going to act differently there. So if you want to, talk to a high volume of people, I recommend you pick a spot which is going to fit your interests and what you are good at. So this is the easiest advice I can give you today. Literally, just go to places you would go to anyway and talk to a bunch of people there. You don't need to have really, deep, meaningful conversations right at the get-go. What I would recommend you is just talk to everyone. Have friendly, fun, and really short conversations with every single person you see there. And you're going to realize some people are going to be open to you and some are going to, be closed off completely. Their vibe is going to be off. They're just not really going to be, in the mood to talk to. The truth is, I managed to go from being lonely to having so much plans in my calendar that I can't even show up to every single event that I'm invited to. And that's when I realized, that you can change your social life so much in just 6 months if you know what to do. That's exactly why I created the Social Circle Blueprint, which is basically just a step-by-step guide to help you through all the difficulties and challenges you will face when you are trying to better your social life and meet new, fun, and amazing people. I'm basically virtually there holding you hand throughout this journey because I know how difficult and time-consuming it can be. So if you feel like you're actually learning valuable lessons from me, then I guarantee you are going to love this full guide. So make sure to check it out. The top link in the description. Now let's continue with the video, because the second lesson I want to teach you is how you can raise your conversion rate. Basically in sales, conversion rate is what percent of people you talk to actually buy from you. In this case, it's going to be what percent of people actually want to meet up with you later on, what percent of people give you their contact information so you can maybe, ask them to do something fun together later on. The true goal here is not to meet as many people as possible. It's to make friends who you actually like, who are actually similar to you, who share similar values and maybe even similar goals to you. The salesman equivalent of this is basically the guy who only sells something to a customer who he truly knows needs it. So let's say you have a car you really like. Are you going to sell that to any barbarian who wants to buy it? No, because you want the car to have a good second owner. The same way how you're not going to be friends with anyone just because you can. So I want you to have high standards regarding the people you become friends with. And I also want you to show your true, authentic self to them. Because there's going to be people who are not going to like you for who you are. Just accept that. Now, it doesn't matter how you act. There's always going to be a certain percentage of people who just don't want to be friends with you no matter what. Aren't you better off showing your true self then? Because if a certain amount of people are not going to like you, whatever you do, then do what you want to do and say what you would like to say. Your mission is to be friends, not with everyone, but with the right people. So let's say you'll show your true self to another person. If they reject you, if they don't want to be friends with you, if they don't want to date you, is it really a loss? Do you think that if you approach the crackhead under the bridge and they don't want to be friends with you, that's really a loss? Obviously not. Your goal was never to be friends with everyone. Your goal was to make new, good quality friends. And I know this from experience. The more people you talk to, the more you realize how many people you don't want to be friends with to begin with. The more girls you talk to, the more you're going to realize how many girls you don't want to date anyway, despite them being really attractive. So always keep this lesson in mind. It's a little difficult to explain this, but success is not getting a really high conversion rate by acting fake. It's showing your true self and trying to get as many people to meet up with you afterwards. The way for me to explain this to you is that you won't change who you are and what matters to you, but you'll try to present yourself in the best way possible. So a couple do's and don'ts. So you do dress nicely, smell good, be socially calibrated, talk about topics which really matter to you, which are really important to you, and let your thoughts flow freely, completely. It's just going to be such a comforting and such an easy conversation to have with the right people when you're not inside of your head. So always try and be present whenever you talk to someone. I guarantee you that even if you say the right words, the way how you say it is going to be off if it's not authentic and if it's not actually something that kind of flew freely out of your mind, if it's something that you were constructing beforehand, like a speech, it's going to be a bit weird. I actually have a friend who's just like this. I'm not going to name drop him, but he's the type of guy who I could tell him every single word on an earpiece what to say during a conversation, and he would still screw it up. Simply because how he uses his words. This is also something that you might be able to improve on, so just make sure to always improve on your social skills, how you speak, what you say, and how you present yourself. But being authentic and being unapologetically true to yourself is going to get you more friends than any form of social skills that you will learn besides this. I can guarantee you that. I also have separate videos on how you can improve your speaking skills and how you can maybe further increase this conversion rate. Make sure to check those out as well. But never change your wardrobe, your personality style, force conversations that you're not interested in, or script what you're about to say. These are what kill the vibe and what kill real authenticity and basically deprive you from actually being able to connect with others. You're doing yourself and your conversation partner a disservice by breaking these rules. And finally, I'm going to give you some advice on how you can invite people to do something fun together. Because let's say you've been talking to a bunch of people every single week. You've been actually having good conversations with these people. What next? How do you invite them out to do something fun? Because what I also teach here on this channel is how you can turn an acquaintance into a good friend. And a step on this ladder is to meet up regularly. You know, it's very difficult to be friends with someone when you only met them like once, no matter how good the conversation was. So make sure to meet up with them in whatever time frame fits your schedule. If you can meet up with someone every single week, good. If you can meet up with them every single month, that also works. If you can only meet up with a certain person like twice a year, that's still better than not meeting up regularly. So make sure to follow this. I definitely have a lot of friends who I only meet up with once or twice every year, and we're still good friends. We still always manage to kind of continue the same flow where we just left it last time. So don't really worry about this too much, but make sure to do invite people the right way. And the exact way to do it is to say, me and a bunch of people are going to go and do this fun activity together at this exact time. You should come and join us. Now, I'm not going to go into too much detail as to why you should say this. I explained that very thoroughly inside of the Social Circle Blueprint. Now, the reason why you say this is because when you say me and a bunch of people, you're signaling that it's not going to be too high pressure. It's not going to be just the two of you. It's not going to be weird. But also that you have other friends who are going to show up, which might also further encourage them to maybe even bring their own friends on the journey or on the trip or on whatever activity you've planned out. Now, what activity should you plan? It definitely has to be something you want to do anyway, something you enjoy anyway. The same way how you meet people in environments which, channel to your own interests, the activity organizer is going to also fit this as well. If you want to try a new cafe, invite your friends to go and try this new cafe. If you want to go try a new gym, invite them to try this new gym. If you want to go on a road trip or a hike, invite them there. Don't fit their interests. Fit your own and invite the company on the journey. Because this is going to kind of further filter out the type of people you want to be friends with. If you invite some people to do some sports together, they say, no, I'm not really into sports. Don't really like that stuff. Well, fuck them then, right? You never wanted to be friends with people who weren't like you to begin with. So why bother from that point on, right? That's also a thing you can do, is just use the activity as a filter itself as well, especially if you're really going for quality over quantity here. Now, the reason you give them an exact time and an exact date is really important as well, because they're just going to be so much more likely to show up if they already know what and where to plan with. So give them an exact time, an exact location, and if they feel like showing up, good. If they don't feel like showing up, also, they just filtered themselves out. Don't worry too much about it. Now, in summary, go to places where you like hanging out, go to places which fit your interests, and just talk to a bunch of people there. The higher volume of people you talk to, the more likely you are going to be to finding your future best friend And girls you actually click with, your future wife could be waiting out there, but because you're not talking to enough people, you're just about missing out. Don't worry too much about being disliked by people. They just did you a favor by showing that you are incompatible if your interests, your values, and simply your personality styles just don't match. Don't worry too much about that. It's going to be like panning for gold. There's going to be a bunch of mud and very little amount of gold. But the ones who do show interest are the ones who you're going to have really, really good friendships with in the future. Trust me here, I speak from experience. Thank you very much for watching. If you want to learn even more from social skills, and if you just want to learn everything right in the same place from similar video essays like this one, check out the top link in the description. If you want to check out some other videos, make sure to subscribe as well, and I'll see you later. Stay social.